Hi, fans. Hi, groups. Hi, people. This is Larry Hankin, and you're watching. What the hell is the name of the place again? Okay, that's it. You're watching CF3. I don't want to do another one. You just want more and more. Oh, by the way, you owe me a cat.
Hello and welcome to another episode of CF3 TV. I'm Dane Michael.
And I am the Hefe.
Johnson. Hefe Madison. And then our co-host here is Dames Marvs. Dames, how are you celebrating today's review of Billy Madison?
Oh, I was going to swim in the pool, but then I decided not to swim in the pool and come and do a review.
Your Billy Madison impersonation / Adam Sandler impersonation morphed into a Bill Cosby impersonation.
Because.
Which is wrong because Bill Cosby was all about Jello pudding. Billy Madison was all about the snack pack. I got my snack pack.
The proof is in the pudding.
Son of a bitch, I have that all over my kitchen upstairs.
And you forgot it? How did you forget the freaking...
Lame.
I don't eat that shit anymore.
Look at this. They made a whole point out of the snack pack in this.
It funded the movie, guy.
She's the snack pack of the movie, though.
Speaking of snack packs, we were able to interview Larry Hankin, who played Carl, Crazy Carl in this film. And boy, did he have a time working on this one. And by boy, did he have a time working on it. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but we kind of have to. We really want you to watch this, so we got to tell you he hated everything about this movie, and that's what's going to make your enjoyment of this interview segment go up tenfold. Please welcome to CF3 TV, Mr. Larry Hankin.
Woo! Yay!
Larry!
Howdy.
Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you? Besides, you mentioned that you were hot there in California when we first talked to you.
Okay, there you go. How am I? I am, wow, it's my this is backwards. Wow, how do you like that? That's really good.
This is why we wear hats.
All right, I got it though.
This is really backwards.
I'm fine. I'm really hot. It's really hot out. But other than that, no, I'm really surprisingly really cool. I'm hot but cool.
Well, thank you for joining us. We have a question first question that we typically like to ask all of our guests. It's the same question for everyone usually. Jeff, fire away with that first question.
Yep, same question everybody gets is, were you a fan of films growing up? And if you were, did you have any ones that you would consider a cult classic?
No, I wasn't a fan, but I watched a lot of movies. But the second part of that question is really interesting because I have had one film that I just thought was the best ever. It has never changed. It's called Man Bites Dog. Have you ever heard of that film?
I know that it has a Criterion Collection release for
Right.
Blu-ray. Criterion has typically released some of the most acclaimed docs of all time.
Well, it was a student film. Anyway, what it was a documentary by 3 students, and they starred in it. They wrote it, directed it, made it, paid for it. Very cheap, very, very cheap. It was filmed as a documentary. It was made up. In other words, it was a mockumentary in a way. 2 students were in a bar, and the third student played a character down the bar. They wondered, he was very loud, this character, let's call him Joe. This character down at the end of the bar was also a great actor. That another reason. He was a thin, skinny, tall, skinny guy with a big Sephardic nose. I remember that, just like me. So, and so I guess that was the identity. I'm tall and I'm thin. And I got a big nose. So when they went, I said, let's go talk to him and see what the hell he's like drunk. This guy is drunk and loud and boisterous. Well, because they had to make a student film. The three characters in the film had to make a student film.
Okay.
So we'll find out. Maybe we can do a documentary about this guy. He seems like crazy enough to be interesting. So they go down, and they kept feeding him more drinks, getting him drunker and drunker. And finally, it turns out this guy is a serial killer, and he confesses it to them. On the down low. But I kill people. I kill people. Really? Are you kidding? Yeah. And from there on, it just got more and more interesting. So what they decided to do, basically, long story short, is these three students decide to make a documentary about a serial killer. They get him to let them follow him while he murders people.
Oh, wow. And
just the whole ramification of just that statement right there. That's the first 3 minutes I told you.
Wow.
And it just gets weirder and more interesting, and it just sucked me in. There it is. Yep. Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
Good work, Dan.
Wow, nice.
It looks like it's available on HBO Max as well, if anybody's interested.
I was going to say, I thought I saw it on
there. I dare you to watch the whole thing.
Oh, it's getting watched tonight. It's getting watched tonight, Larry.
Jerry Lewis, I love Jerry Lewis films. His early stuff, the one where he's really crazy and stupid. I love those films. But as opposed to other films, I was centered on that. If there was a Jerry Lewis film, I would just watch that. But Billy Madison has the same stupidity laughter of Jerry Lewis, that way over the top, and
yes,
which when I'm in it, I hate. I can't. So I don't know what happened, where the divorce happened, where all of a sudden I became a critical thinker. I don't know. But now I didn't have a good time on the film. Probably that had a lot to do with my later non-interest in Billy Madison or Adam, until he did his serious films, for other directors. He's a cool actor, man. He really is. You seen Uncut Gems?
I have. Blew my mind.
Man, he's cool. I recommend watching that. That's a cool. For him, for as an actor, he did a bang up job, man. And so
you're just not a fan of the lowbrow, low hanging fruit type of comedy.
Yeah. Basically that's it. But I didn't have a good time on the film because he's a prankster. Adam is
right
behind the scenes.
It was his first film, and I understood as an actor the burden of doing your first major, film, and all the money involved and all the tension involved. And there was a lot of tension on the set with the producers, and they fired my best friend who was directing the film because of that tension and
wow.
just the tension of the first film. Yeah, he wasn't directing fast enough, and it wasn't that he was a bad director. I was watching, and I would go, because he was my friend and a director, I could go to the rushes for the first, I guess, week. So I was watching, the rushes were fine, and I was in part of the rushes, and I thought I was fine. But he was too slow. In other words, my time is money, let's go. And he was very methodical. I've known him for years. He's a very methodical person and director. So he cared. Well, it was his, I think, first major motion picture directing also. So it was new for everybody. The producers were new, the Adam, the writers. And he was pranking me. Adam was pranking me, I guess, to release the tension. And I don't like pranks, man. I just I don't have a sense of humor. Let me put it that way. Okay. So
that brings up a question for me. First of all, I just want to say you just jostled one of my earliest childhood memories, which is watching a Jerry Lewis movie. I don't know what it was, but he's falling around on like ping pong balls.
Slipping on a floor or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
well,
like one of
I
my
guess
earliest.
sounds like Jerry to me.
Yeah, but I guess I'm trying to figure a way to position this question. I don't want it to come across as you not taking your work seriously, because I would never imply that. But to me, that in interviews that I've watched, there's the thing that I love is I don't take shit. I don't know how to take shit, and I'm not gonna. And that includes people from the likes of Clint Eastwood, Larry David, like some of the heaviest hitters in the business.
You've done some research on me.
Of course. I'm a fan. So my question to you,
cool. No, I'm very proud of my attitude.
I guess my question is, you've had some close calls where, you were just about to walk away and like Clint Eastwood laughed and you ultimately came back. But is there any time where you're just like, fuck this, I'm out, and that was it?
Yeah, on Clint Eastwood's movie. Yeah, Escape from Alcatraz. I watched.
Can you tell us a little bit of that story?
Yeah. Now, here's the history of. I don't like pranks. Okay, but the history in cinema is pranks have been going on since there's been celluloid. It's just that's it, man. Because up until digital. When you made a feature film or any kind of film, it was a lot of technical problems, lighting, sound. The introduction of sound just broke everybody's back because there was no sound, and you could say, "Hey, Harry, bring over that light. Get that goddamn actor over here." You couldn't, speak for about, 200 yards in each direction. If you were inside, you had to wear cloth on your shoes or take your shoes off. I mean, you couldn't move because of the sound. And the sound equipment was so big, like a microphone was about that big. You had to hide it. So a lot of times actors, if it was like a shot like this and you were recording me, when sound first came in, they had to hide maybe the microphone down here, and it was not a sensitive mic, so I'd have to talk like this. Or if the microphone was over here, I'd have to, which way is this?
You're reminding me of some of my favorite scenes of Singing in the Rain when they are trying to move the microphone around.
So, yeah, or, if the microphone was, all right, watch where my head goes. I'm not going to point. If the microphone was over here, you'd have to talk like this. And in other words, they would move a bunch of roses right next to you so you could talk into the roses. They would be right here. They had to hide stuff. Indoors, if you watch all these old pictures, in the black and white days when they had they had to put the camera in these big boxes because the machinery in the camera was. So it was a lot of problems, man, to make movies. So pranks were like, when they said cut, and if you look at the photographs of making movies in the black and white days, everybody had a suit on. I mean, if you were on crew, you wore a suit. I mean, it was awful working in movies. Unless you were like a star and everybody catered to where you were. Right. But if you were in a crew or you were on the camera, man, it was awful. So pranks, and on Escape from Alcatraz, the director, who was a great man, I just loved that man, Don Siegel, an old guy. He was an old guy, had white hair like me, but he was from the the white. He was from the black and white movies, so he was a prankster, just like Adam was. But when Don Siegel pranked me, I got PO'd, but I held it in, and when Adam pranked me, I let it out around. I let it out at Adam, but I didn't understand all this that I'm talking about to you guys when I was doing Escape from Alcatraz. That was my first big movie. I was just I was a kid, man. So I took everything very seriously. So when Clint Eastwood and now all right, here's the point of the story. My scenes were all with Clint Eastwood. I was hired. I didn't know this, but I was hired to be his patsy or his sidekick, a young kid. And Don Siegel hired me specifically for that because I was so naive as an actor auditioning. He sensed it. I gave him Don Siegel in the audition attitude. I didn't know because I didn't understand what auditions was. That was maybe my third or fourth serious audition, maybe even my first audition. I was auditioning for sitcoms. That's the committee. That's improv kind of acting. No, this was a serious role for me. It was my first serious role, so I took everything seriously. So I was serious, and they were pranking me, and I don't know how to deal with this. Okay, so here's my scenes were all with Clint Eastwood. Every time, Clint doesn't like to do two scenes. Doesn't like to do a second take. What he'll do is Don Siegel would come up to him, and he'll say, cut. And then Don Siegel will come up to him, walk away from the camera, come up to me and Don. But he was talking to, me and Clint. But he's talking to Clint. I was not there. He didn't pay any attention to me, which pissed me off. But I held it in. This is new. But he would, how was that for you, Clint? He'd say, yeah, okay, that was cool. Yeah, he said, okay, we're moving on. But they would never, and I was there for 3 months, So the first month, this was going on. He would come up and I'd just stand there like, like a bump on a log, as my mother used to say. And so it was starting to bug me. And then Clint would also say, because they had made many movies together before Alcatraz. So they knew their own, their picadillos and their habits, and they just worked together well. And they would consult with each other. And then Clint would always say, that was good for me, let's move on. Every time they would always say the same thing. How was that for you, Clint? That was good for me, let's move on. I'm thinking, wow, it's so automatic, and okay, fine, but why isn't he asking me if it was okay for me? I didn't make any disconnection between a star and me. It was like, well, two actors, why isn't he talking to me? I didn't get it. That's how naive it was. And they sensed that. Clint and him, they knew this guy doesn't know what's going on. And they loved it. They loved my naive thing. So one day, I finally got fed up with it. And they said, how is that for you, Clint? And Clint said, it was okay for me. And just before he said, moving on, he said, I'd like to do it again, I spoke up. I'd like to do it again. I think I can do it better. And they just looked at me, and Clint goes, well, I don't think I can. And he walked away.
Oh, God.
And the crew just broke down laughing, just like you guys. They just, and that just galled me. So not only was I insulted, but now I'm in the barrel. I knew that. I knew I am now Charlie Butts. I am now the butt of the joke on this movie, and I had 2 more months to go. But I knew that, and no, this is not. I got to get out of this barrel, man, because all the crew now for the next 2 or 3 days would just look at me and smile, and they would, I knew it was coming. They were going to just all pile on me. I knew it. And I would stay up at night trying to think. Not my part. I was thinking, I got to get out of the barrel. What can I do to him? I'm going to get back. I got to get back. And finally it came about 2 weeks later. And I don't think Clint Eastwood knew what he was saying when he said this. He was just being Clint Eastwood and just saying what came to him. We're honest that Don Siegel comes up to him and says, how's that for you, Clint? And Clint said exactly this. I think I can do it better. I'd like to do it again. I heard that and said, well, I can't, and moved away. And I went to walk away. It just was automatic. I didn't even think about it. And there was silence. I expected a laugh. You know, hey, they laughed. Nothing. Now, here's the capper. We were on Tier C. Now, Tier C, now the cells are here, and there's a drop-off of 30 feet. You're at least 30 feet up. So now the camera is in this particular thing where we were. The camera was shooting into a cell, which means the camera is hanging out over the railing, right? There's a drop. You're shooting this way. You walk this way. The camera is shooting this way. And it was, yeah. So everybody was standing on this side of the camera. So if I was going to walk away, I had to walk down this tier, and we were near this door. So that door was about 100 feet away. So as I'm walking, the only place I could walk was down this tier, and it's a long walk, and it's silent back there. And I'm adamant. And for the first 20 feet, I'm, fuck these people. I'm not turning around. I'm not going back. I don't care. I know I'm fired. I just want out of here. I'm out of the barrel. Fuck you all. And boom, 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 boom. And there's nothing. I'm just walking, and they're not saying. And the door, meanwhile, is getting further and further away in my mind. Just let me get to the door. Just get to the door. And all of a sudden, just as I got to the door, I hear Clint Eastwood break down laughing and say, "Hey, Larry, come on back, will you, man?" Yeah, and then they all start like, "Yeah, come on back, come on back. Hey, it's okay, come on back." And so I walked back, and nobody said anything. I didn't say anything. They just said, "Okay, let's just continue with the scene." It's like nothing. Nobody said anything. But I was out of the barrel. I mean, I was Clint's best friend after that. I'm not his best friend, but he, I did, "Hey, Larry, come here," or whatever. It's okay for you, Larry. Is that okay? It's just fucking on that way. You want to do another one? No.
Now, guys, that is not all from Larry Hankin in this episode, not by a long shot. So please stick around for the cult film segment, and you're definitely going to want to hear the story that he tells when we ask him to rate Billy Madison for the patented Cult Filmometer. First of all, he sets an amazing precedent, and the story that he tells really gives some insight into kind of a little bit more of what he was saying about not having a good time on the set and being pranked by Adam Sandler. It's some great stuff.
All right, we got Billy Madison. It's Adam Sandler that stars as Billy Madison in the outrageous comedy where the subject is always fun. 27-year-old Billy Madison must repeat all 12 grades of school in just 24 weeks. To earn his father's respect and prove he has what it takes to run the multi-million-dollar company. Will his maturity stand the test of time, or will it only take a week? This is Billy Madison. All right, guys, got a question for you. Would you be mature enough to last all 12 grades?
Like,
would you want to go back and do that shit all over again, or would you?
It wouldn't even take me like a week to test out of these grades, you guys. Kind of a genius.
Wow. What, you don't want to go back through high school with a Trans Am?
I want to know what kind of soup they were eating. It's just fucking broth. There's nothing in it.
That's what it looked like to me, like a beef broth.
Beef broth.
What is he saying when he's eating?
I just like the noises.
Let's get down to brass tacks, though. This movie is stupid as shit.
Stupid as hell, yep.
He is stupid. Like, in the first 10 minutes, and I didn't feel this way when I saw it when I was a kid. I was like, oh, he's so funny. In the first 10 minutes, you just want to wring his neck because he's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck are we watching on this,
Luckily, he gets a little bit better, and people like the maid who wants his ass save the first 10 minutes of the movie.
And throw out the movie.
She's awesome.
What, you don't want me to take my shirt off?
like I mean, we can get into favorite lines, but she has one that I wrote down. What is it though? While I'm looking for it, you guys come up with something.
We just have to. I mean, this whole segment of reviewing the movie should be lines because it's going to take forever otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, chlorophyll, more like borophyll.
I thought I was your snack pack. That's one of her lines.
So hot. Want to touch the hiney?
Here's a nice piece of shit.
I think it's time to play dodgeball.
Dude, right after he goes, I sure hope he finds what he's looking for. He's like, this is a nice piece of shit.
Sorry doesn't put Triscuit crackers in my stomach, does it, Carl?
They need to have that.
Somebody had to have the Triscuits for this.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's right there.
I hate cursive and I hate all of you. He does something so stupid.
All the cool kids pee their pants.
I'll tell you who took those lunches. That damn Sasquatch.
O'Doyle rules!
If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
What does he spell couch correctly? And he goes, I am the smartest man alive.
Mr. Madison, what you said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I thought that's how you're going to end the filmometer segment when we got there.
I got to throw a shout out to Mojo, Melissa Murphy. She told me that's her basic life philosophy. It's that
Everybody
line.
fails, yep.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite lines. My wife would tramp.
The board is littered with like 4 or 5 of those,
I
Married
married
Common Street Trash, yeah. Boy, he has a bone about his wife cheating on him. And
Listen, I don't know that guy's name, and I'm not going to Google it during the broadcast, but he's hilarious. Kind of like a scene stealer.
So serious.
And he's hilarious in Dirty Work as a homeless man as well.
Oh,
where he
geez.
gets similar monologues interrupted by...
Yeah, he's the Jack Candy guy. He's the road that Jack Candy for Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that's him? Okay.
Yeah. So let's just call him Jack Candy.
He's not Jack Candy.
I love it when he's like, ducks aren't blue. And he's like, I drew my duck blue because I wanted to see a blue duck. And she's like, well, I think it's an excellent blue duck. Congratulations, you just passed the first grade.
No milk will ever be our milk.
Oh.
Boy, did that turn around.
Yeah.
So hot.
She really fell for him, like, quickly.
I already did that line.
She's so hot. Want to touch the hiney.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Veronica.
So hot. Want to touch the hiney?
And then, like, the first part of the musical, during the first part of the musical number that pops up in the fountain, Veronica, I thank you for beating the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is right here.
That was great.
Damn, that's a hell of a left hook.
Do you got any more in the tank there? ROCK. Oh, the C is silent. You know how I know this movie was before the internet? He cared about nudie magazines and nudie magazine day.
And he ordered the worst possible ones ever.
Yes.
He must have gotten that variety pack.
Like,
deal.
what
It must
the
have
hell,
been, yeah, like he had no control. It was like a grab bag or something.
Well, he was
Why
grabbing
would
something
you-
with that bag.
Why would you do that when you're a billionaire?
Well, got to get your rocks off somehow. He probably didn't have satellite feed for the Playboy channel or whatever was
Pick
rocking.
whatever ones you want, though.
You guys, I'm gonna start eating Snack Pack more.
They're delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar high for days.
Okay, they have a lemon one, which sounds disgusting, but it is incredible.
They got layers ones like Oreos and Rolo. Those are pretty good too.
Are these all
That's
Billy
not-
Madison approved?
Knock it off, Jeff.
What?
Now you're just lying.
You're just getting all fancy.
Bunch of jealous bastards. You gotta go out and get some of that.
We need to do our final thoughts on this film and our Cult Filmometer scores. And actually, we're going to start with Larry Hankin, who played Carl. Wow. It's like 5 minutes because he's going to tell a story after he gives his score. So I'm just going to warn you guys now that that's going to happen. But let it roll.
What would you rate Billy Madison for our patented Cult Filmometer on a scale of 0 to 100 in terms of whatever terms you want?
0.
0.
Best score ever.
Screw you, Adam. Screw you.
Larry, I love that because no one's ever done that before.
Yeah, well,
But that's
Got it.
First time for
Larry.
everything.
That's totally Larry.
0.
That's totally Larry.
0.
0.
Larry,
All
let's
right,
get you
but-
on bigger screen saying, I give Billy Madison a 0.
Ready, go.
And sign my name to it and send it to Adam.
For pranking you. Do not prank Larry.
For pranking me. No, I'll tell you exactly why. Okay, this is really quick, but it's another, Hankinism about, oh my God. You know that laugh that I do, that Carl does, when he's introducing me to his girlfriend out in the house in the back behind his house. He's with his girlfriend and he says, "Oh, Carl, this is my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is my, this is my friend Carl." I don't know if you remember that scene. And then he says, "Carl, do that laugh for her." And then I do this laugh, Okay, Dane, you're on my list.
Thank you.
You laugh. Okay, no, it's
You
not a good
Dane.
laugh. Not a laugh. It's not a good laugh. Okay, here's the story behind that laugh. I'm having lunch. We're shooting a movie. My friend has not been fired yet, so everything is pretty cool. We're having lunch in the cafeteria that was set up for us. And Adam is at his table. I'm at my table. We're talking with friends. He's talking with his people. Adam calls me over. "Hey, Larry, come here. What? What do you want?" I just didn't want to even be with him. I didn't get along with him at all. I didn't get a sense of humor. I didn't think it was funny. Now I really respect his acting, but then he wasn't an actor. He was just this guy. And so he says, "Come here." I said, "Okay, fine." So I stopped eating my lunch and go over. Well, he said, sit down. Okay, yeah, what, Adam? He said, "I hear you do this funny thing, this laugh, this funny thing. Well, what is that all about?" And this is that laugh that I do in the movie. That was something I did in high school, in the cafeteria for lunch, to get laughs, And I said, "That you mean the thing about the high school thing? That laugh that I did?" He said, "Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that. What is that?" I go, "Oh, it's just a stupid thing I used to do." "Well, let me see. And then all of a sudden, he's sitting with his producers and the director. No, not my director. He was sitting with other people who are now interested in this conversation. So they're all quiet. They're not stopped eating and they're listening to us. And I go, "I don't want to do that. He said, no, come on." And he insisted. He said, I just got my lunch, man. Let me just go back. And he's saying, "No, come on." And Adam can be, well, just because he's so talented and stuff like that, he can be really insistent. And not in a big way, but just, I want this and I want this now. And he wouldn't let me go. And it was his first movie. I did respect him. So I said, "Well, I'll do it, but I don't want to do it, I don't think it's funny, Adam." He says, "No, I hear it's really funny." I say, "Okay, but then, So I go, and I do that. As I make this funny face, which I will not do. And it was like a a really funny face and a weird laugh. Part of it is in the movie. I didn't do the whole frontal.
The full frontal.
So I didn't do the whole thing that I would do in high school, you know, at the table. So he did, and everybody at the table kind of, you know, smiled, and he said, "Hey, that's funny." I said, "Well, I don't think it's funny. Can I go back to my lunch now?" You know, and he said, "Yeah, cool." And I said, "Okay, thank you, goodbye." And I went back to my lunch. Okay, later in the day, that scene comes up. Now, nothing's been mentioned about that laugh since lunch, since I left the table. Never been brought up. It's hours later. We're doing the scene, the first take. And in the middle of the scene, he says, you know, "Hey, this is my girlfriend. This is Carl." And then he improvises out of nowhere, you know, "Hey, Larry." No, Carl. "Hey, Carl, do that laugh for her." Now, I was an improviser for 12 years. I was in Second City and the committee. So that was like, you know, "Hey, do that." And it was on, and this improvisational instinct that was put in me just welled up, and I just did it. I just did that laugh that I did at the table. And as soon as I did it, I hated myself. Like, damn it, he punked me. He punked me. Man. Right on camera, you know, in a major feature film, he punked me. And I did it, and we continued with the scene. We're professional, you know. And as soon as the director called cut, Adam said, "Let's move on, let's move on." And "Did you get it?" And the director said, "Yeah, it was fine." And then he said, "Okay." And he walked away. Adam walked away. So they had to move on. And I figured out, and I was pissed, man, because I wanted to do it again because I wouldn't do it. And Adam knew that. That's why he wanted to move on. They got it, and he's not going to do it again, because I was like, I didn't express it, but my face looked, you know, God, fuck you, Adam.
A 0.
A fucking 0.
First time for everything.
I don't even think we have a 0 on our card deck for that one.
I think we do, but
Take a look.
I don't ever really intend to use mine because every film has some shred of effort put into it.
Well, if we do Blair Witch, that'll be when you see a 0 from me.
Jeff,
Come on, a 0?
Come on.
No, I'd probably give it a 1.
Well, that's something.
Spoiler
But,
alert.
Yeah, I don't see a 0 on our deck.
Jeff's a growly bitch about that movie.
So is your mom.
But a
Yeah, but she'd
0
give it more than a 0.
is amazing.
She had you.
And I had written down in my notes, and we never got to this because of, like, when we did the interview with Larry, the notes just didn't come up. But I had this written down. Larry, can you remember how to do Eric's weasel laugh? Yeah, he remembers, and he did not like doing that laugh.
Boom!
Okay.
Boy, if this was an epic rap battle, that'd be a haymaker.
So I'm glad I didn't ask him that question before. He told us that the laugh was such a sticking point. Basically, like, Adam Sandler was a bully to him. Who knew? I always just thought this was a stupid movie. But Dames, where do you come in on it?
Dude, this movie is fucking dumb. Luckily, it's saved by the likes of people like Norm Macdonald, who's got very few lines, very underused in this film. And he could have been way better used. Of course, you have Chris Farley, who is hilarious as the bus driver. He's like, the scene where he's like, I got a piece of that. He's like, no, you didn't. He's like, no, I didn't. But I know a guy who did. He's like, no, you don't. He's like,
No, you didn't.
All right, then. He's hilarious. So I'm giving points back every time one of these guys makes an appearance. The Jack Handy guy, hilarious. As everything that he's done is hilarious. I don't know. It was Adam's first real go at a movie where he's the lead. He carried it and obviously did enough in people's eyes to get him to where he is today. I mean, it was the launch pad. So, I mean, I hate it now as an adult. As a kid, I loved it because it was my type of humor. And then as I passed the age of 27, where he was when he made it, I left it in the rearview mirror. I now way prefer things like Uncut Gems and
Click.
many other. Oh God, Click might be. No, Click is worse than this movie. I would score that way worse than this movie. But I mean, it's Adam Sandler. It's how we all got our basic introduction to him. So if you like the man at all, you're going to score it accordingly. I mean, Jeff?
All right, Adam Sandler movie. Here we go. In high school, I hated your ass, but as an adult, I actually get a kick out of this movie. Billy Madison hated this movie to begin with when I was a kid. As an adult, I actually get some of the jokes a little bit better now. They don't fly over my head. And I do see Adam Sandler's comedic timing and talents through this movie a lot. What I don't like is when he's acting like a freaking 5-year-old. Nobody that age and who is that spoiled and that lazy really acts like that. They are actually way more drunk, way more disheveled, and they look completely worse. I'm not taking this as a serious movie because, as you'll see in my score, I am actually giving this movie some points because this is a turn your brain off movie. If you wanted an honest plot with this, if you wanted honest acting with this is the wrong flipping movie. You got to know what you're getting into with this movie. That's it. It's an Adam Sandler movie, and it's not as bad as I remembered it, but it's still not that great. All right, Dane, what did you think?
I think this movie has a good cast. Like Damon said, there's great cameos in here. Let's not forget Steve Buscemi.
Love him.
People to kill.
That was great.
Bradley Whitford in between Revenge of the Nerds and like really Revenge of the Nerds 2, sorry, and really like serious stuff that he would do later, like The West Wing. It's really stupid. And Adam Sandler is really stupid. He does a lot of the same shtick throughout his movies, which can get to be a bit much. This is really the first time he was trying them out in feature films. His next movie, Happy Gilmore, is infinitely better than this one.
Agreed.
You can get him on a 2-pack like Jeff has there with his double feature. I'm sure it's pretty cheap. Yeah. There's a lot to like about it, but it's a really stupid movie. And at the end of the day, it's not something that's going to merit a really high score for me because of that. I enjoy it enough to get through it without any problems. So hold up your scores, gents.
Shampoo is better. No, conditioner is better.
Holy smokes. I was not prepared for this.
Okay. And remember, we've got a 0 to add to this as well.
And Dane went with 69, which is another line in the movie.
That's as boorish. My score is as boorish as the film is itself.
You see? You're stupid minds. Stupid.
Got a nice round number. It's 52.
Boom!
I already had it as the lowest scoring movie we've ever done. So it's 20 points below Overboard. Actually, 18 points. Overboard was a 70.1.
Do you have our rankings from the podcast era? Do you know how that would fare, or is Super Mario still the tank bottom on that one?
I think
it would be above Super Mario and probably Manos, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But that's it. Maybe Troll 2. I don't know. Troll 2 is probably
Troll
better.
2 we gave a better score to. Yeah.
All right.
So before we check out here, just want to remind everybody that we're on the Project Nerd Network. And
yes,
you should please like and subscribe. Like the Facebook page. You'll get our live cast through there. Like the YouTube page, and you'll get this when it comes out every other Monday-ish, maybe even more frequent coming soon. We have a lot of plans coming up for the show. including shorter, more digestible segments for you all.
And remember, we didn't get rid of the Total Recast segment. It's now its own live stream video series. So,
and reach out to us if you want to participate in that or a party cast, because we'd love to do it. Jeff, what's the email address?
CF3podcast@gmail.com. And just one more little note on the YouTube thing. Like and subscribe. Make sure to click the bell on the notifications for Project Nerd, because if you don't do that, you won't actually get notified when the new videos upload like that. So make sure you at least hit the little bell button and subscribe.
Support us, and we'll support you.
Yes, and one last thing. We are not the only show on Project Nerd. There are many other shows. Please make sure that you check those things out, because everybody is putting in, I don't want to say they're putting in as much time and effort and work as we are, but they are putting in a lot of time and effort on making content for you guys. And
they're not Billy Madison this.
Yeah, and getting bigger and bigger every day. So the more the merrier. Thanks. I love you guys.
Project Nerd, so hot. Touch the like button.
CF3, have fun that's everlasting, binging on cult films and totally recasting, interviewing stars and making fun of Dave's marks. What's your favorite line and what's your latest chorus?